This is Greg Burt with the California Family Council. As you can see, I'm standing out in front of the Capitol on a very important hearing day. And with me is a special guest, Dr. Doug Bennett. He's going to be testifying against a bill that is in the Assembly Public Safety Committee, a bill that we are very concerned about. It's SB 357. This particular bill is going to start the process of legalizing prostitution here in California. Now, it's not legalizing prostitution. What they're going to start with is legalizing really street walking, which is currently there is a law against loitering for the intent for prostitution. So I know many of us have seen on movies or maybe personally when traffickers are putting women on the streets, selling them to men that come by. The police have the right to make arrests if they think that thing is happening, to separate them from the traffickers. And that bill is going to, this law is going to erase that bill. And I know that you're really concerned about that. First of all, why don't you tell us something about your ministry in Bakersfield and why you're up here today?
Sure. Well, I'm up here because you invited me, and you brought this bill to my attention. So my name's Doug Bennett. I founded an organization named Magdalene Hope back in 2009. We do outreach in Bakersfield, Orange County, Tijuana, Las Vegas, Detroit, the Central Coast of California, anywhere actually that we're led to go by the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And we also have a shelter for women called Restoration Ranch Women's Shelter. And we've also had a coffee shop and are in the process of tooling out an ambulance to make a mobile coffee shop so we can employ the women that we've actually assisted to freedom out of sex trafficking.
So sex trafficking is what you're really fighting, is that right? I mean, that's a big thing here in California.
Absolutely, yeah. Our studies, our research shows that 7 out of 10 women are not prostitutes, but they're victims of human trafficking or victims of sex trafficking.
That's right.
And we have a problem with that.
That's right. And so this particular law that police use to make arrests if they see prostitution happening on the street, a lot of thoughts these days are towards being more compassionate towards those women, viewing them as victims, not as criminals, because a lot of them are being forced into this. But this goes one step farther and almost seemingly takes away the police's ability to stop human trafficking happening right there on your street corners. And so if police cannot make these type of arrests, what is that going to do to women?
Well, it's going to open up a huge platform for traffickers to put more women out there. Well, the matter is, the average age that a child enters into human trafficking is 11 to 14 years old, and that's a study done by Homeland Security, by the Blue Campaign. And if the women that we meet with and talk to, over 12,000 women over 12 years, and we have ascertained that 7 out of 10 of them are not out there by choice, but someone's trafficking off of them. My main point today is, if this law passes, this bill passes, then it's going to open up a floodgates for more women to be trafficked because they're not going to be prosecuted or anything like that being out on the street. This would be a free-for-all for traffickers, and for that we're asking for a no vote or for members to abstain from voting yes.
Great. Hey, I'm standing out here in front of the Capitol today with a witness. Her name is Marianne Jackson, and she's going to be giving testimony in front of the Assembly Judiciary Committee against SB 357 today. And she has a story of that she's going to share of her own experience being trafficked here in California, but coming out, God saving her out of that, and a story of redemption. Now she helps other women who are trapped in the trafficking trade here in California. And I don't think most people realize how dangerous street walking is. So why don't we start first by just telling us a little bit about your ministry and how you got into this.
Okay. Well, I'm the facility director of Restoration Ranch Women's Shelter in Bakersfield, California. I help victims of or survivors of human trafficking and the commercial sex industry restore their lives. I am also a survivor myself. Well, my point in bringing all of this to up today is that it is very dangerous for women out on the streets to be getting into a car with a man, a stranger at that, not knowing where they're going to be taken, not knowing if the car door could be locked and they can't get out. I actually personally know a woman that I had worked with that was a streetwalker, and she got into a man's car, and the door would not open. He took her to an unknown location, robbed her, beat her, raped her, and left her out there for dead. And so I just think that it's one of the deadliest jobs that a woman could have.
That's right. And to think police are going to make this easier, not police, but the legislature is considering making this type of prostitution easier for traffickers. And so that's what I know we're all concerned about, and appreciate you being here today to share your perspective. The legislators absolutely need to hear it, right? So thanks for being with us. Hi, this is Greg Burt again outside our state capitol, getting ready to go inside to the Assembly Judiciary Committee to oppose a bill that is going to legalize loitering for prostitution. And with me, we have Angie Bennett with Magdalene Hope organization, which is an anti-trafficking group that helps women get off the streets. And Angie has a really interesting experience herself as a high school teacher in Bakersfield, and just experiencing what human trafficking is like down there within the school. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and why you're concerned about this bill?
Okay. I'm an art teacher. I teach in Bakersfield at South High School. We are the lowest economic income school in the Kern High School District. 98 to 99% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. Our demographic is mostly African American, Hispanic, mixed, and prostitution is generational in our area, and that's because prostitution is a way for our families to survive. So we have grandmothers, mothers and daughters who are prostitutes. We've got grandfathers, fathers, and brothers who are being trained to pimp or to handle girls. And so this is an issue that we have. We have had incidents in our student body of trafficking through what's called Romeo pimping, which is a boyfriend who approaches a woman, dates her, and then coerces her into becoming a prostitute in order to make money to support them. So it's not something that is just at my school, and it's not something that's prevalent in our school. It is throughout every high school in California, throughout the United States, worldwide. There are insidious ways that children are accessed and coerced into becoming sex workers, prostitutes. Prostitute is an illegal sex worker. Then it's important that the population, the public, the voting public understands that street prostitution is illegal in California. My concern with this bill is that it takes something away from law enforcement, but it gives nothing back. There are no services being written into this bill which offers to help the adults that are currently involved in the sex trade. There's no training for law enforcement to encourage them. The bill is accusing law enforcement of profiling, racial and gender profiling, but there's nothing in the bill that even attempts to change that. By taking away loitering with the intent to commit prostitution on city streets, yet it doesn't even try to change that climate or that culture. I know personally that through Magdalene Hope, I've worked with 6 women, black, brown, trans, lesbian, whose lives were changed because law enforcement intervened. They detained them, and instead of arresting them, they called us. And that would never have happened without law enforcement. So this is a terrible bill, in my opinion. It has a lot of holes, and I really would like people to encourage their lawmakers to hold off on this bill. Don't let it go through. It needs to hold up because there's too many mistakes. It says it's a safer streets for all act, but it's not safe for anybody. It's too problematic, and there's too many holes.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're here today to explain it to legislators. I think a lot of them are ignorant about how laws actually work on the ground. So we need everybody to call their member of the assembly on this particular bill. It's already passed the Senate, so now it's going to go to if it passes this committee today, then it goes to the whole floor of the assembly. So please call your assembly members, tell them to vote no or don't vote at all. This is a terrible bill. It's going to hurt our community. It's going to hurt women. It's going to hurt anybody who's being trafficked, and it's something that needs to be stopped. Thanks so much.